Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I am thrilled to be here, and I'm even more thrilled that you are here. We developed something that we call common sense solutions. If you don't have one, you'll get one before you leave. And do you know where I got these ideas from? People. It's amazing what you learn if you listen. That common sense booklet represents listening to people for so many years. Because it's as if the common sense left Washington, D.C. long time ago and it never went back. What would I do about Afghanistan? I would first make sure that the mission was clear. I would then make sure that the priorities were there. Thirdly, I'd figure out what is victory. What does victory look like? And if we can't win, I need an exit strategy. The economy. There are 5 things that we need to do right away in phase 1 of my economic plan. And then there's something we need to do in phase 2. Phase 1, we need to lower the top corporate tax rate from 35 to 25%. We're the only country on the planet that has not lowered the corporate tax rate in 15 years. How much sense does that make? And we wonder why jobs are leaving America. Number 2, take capital gains tax rate to 0. Z-E-R-O. I have to spell it for liberals because they don't know what zero means. Number 3, suspend taxes on foreign repatriated profits. Multinational companies have generated profits overseas. They leave them overseas because if they bring them back, they get taxed again. Nearly $1 trillion is stuck offshore. If you were to say 0 taxes on it for 2 years, it'll come back in 2003. And then the other thing that I would do is provide a real payroll tax holiday for workers and employers. So my point is, take those 4 points, and the 5th point of my 5-point plan is you put a bow around it and you make them permanent. You know what that's called? Getting this uncertainty off of this economy so businesses can get excited about investing in their businesses and growing. Replace the tax code with the fair tax. That's phase 2. China is growing at about a 10% growth rate per year. At the same time, we are growing at about a 2.5% per year growth rate. Energy independence, a real energy independence plan. The Congressional Research Service put out a report a couple of weeks ago that said we have enough stuff, oil, coal, natural gas, right here in the United States of America to become energy independent. And one of the biggest barriers we're going to have in order to be able to do that, folks, is the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. They are so restrictive that that's why nothing happens. Well, I'm going to put together a regulatory reduction commission for the EPA. Okay, entitlement. Let's start with the biggest one, Social Security. Not privatized, personalized. They did it in Chile 30 years ago. If we do not change our Social Security structure and provide a personal retirement account option for younger workers, if you're on Social Security, you're not going to be impacted. If you're almost on Social Security, you're not going to be impacted. If you want to stay on Social Security, you can stay on Social Security. But the first thing the liberals are going to tell you is that they're going to take away your Social Security. They want to hurt old people, children, and puppy dogs. Approach, you make it optional, and we can do the same thing that Chile did. Mr. Cain, that sounds all well and good, but that's going to be too difficult to do. Let me get this straight, sir. Don't do it because it's difficult, even though it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't raise that way. My secret weapon would be you, the American people. Because one of my guiding principles is, if the American people understand it, they will support it and demand it. I'm not going to send you a 2,700-page bill for anything. Some people believe that we should end the Fed. I believe we should fix the Fed. Let me tell you the first thing you do in order to fix the Fed. Stop spending money. Don't raise the debt limit, number 1, and then start bringing down the debt. We start bringing down the debt, the Fed won't have to print more money to inflate the dollar. It's just that simple. The Fed ain't the problem. The spending is the problem. But if people want to audit the Fed, I don't have a problem about that. Sharia law being brought into our system. No, American law, American relationship with Pakistan, based upon what has been revealed over the past several weeks, has strained the relationship. The questions that I would want answered would be, number one, is there anybody in that government we can trust? Just saying, say this again, this whole foreign policy thing. I said earlier, and I mean this, I'm not going to shoot from the lip. There's too much information on some of these relationships that I would need to know before I said, this is what we ought to do. This is what we ought to do. This is what we ought to do. Because we've done enough of these reactionary things in the past that has gotten us into a lot of trouble. When you hear the terminology comprehensive immigration reform, that means that they don't know what to do. It's four problems. Number one, secure the border.
Yes.
That's number one. That's a separate issue. If you don't secure the border, solving the other three won't work. Secure the border, number one. Number two, enforce the laws that are there. I do believe in an e-verify system. Number three, promote the path to citizenship that's already there. We don't need a new path to citizenship. I was just on the radio with, what's his name? Simon Conway. And he was telling me during the break, he came here the legal way through the front door. He said, yes, the bureaucracy get in the way. This is what I mean by promote the path to citizenship that's already there. Let's clean up the bureaucracy. And number four, what do you do about the illegals that are already here? Empower the states to do what the federal government won't do and what they can't do. Don't sue Arizona. Send them a prize. Yeah. This is about the kids. And as Ronald Reagan says, it's also about a fight for freedom. It's a fight for freedom. Because, you know, freedom is so fragile these days. Every time they pass some more stuff, they're taking away more and more of our freedom. And as Reagan said, I don't want to wake up one day and have to explain to my children and grandchildren what America used to be like when men were free. The founding fathers did their job, folks. We've got to be the defending fathers. Let's defend this nation. Thank you very much.